Good evening, everybody. How are we doing today? Sorry, I'm just checking the levels there, making sure that it is looking good. I'm gonna tune it a little bit because I like to have it be really clear. My nose is feeling a little bit better than last week. How's the weekend? Wow. I mean, is it just me or does it seem like the weekend is getting shorter? Every weekend, it's like this is getting too short all the time. Oh, my sleeping pattern is broken. I've just been horrible at sleeping this weekend. And tomorrow I have to get up early as well. Well, today, I mean, it's 2:30 in the morning. I have to get up at like just before 8 again. I have an appointment, so today is gonna be tough. Anyway, how are you doing? Welcome. It is Monday, and we are doing some EDS Retail. Now I'm gonna make the chat quick. As I said, I want to keep it down to a few minutes. So real quick, welcome to the channel. If you're watching the VOD, thanks for rewatching it. If you're watching it live, welcome. Make sure to make your voices heard in the chat there. Anything you want, just engage with me there. And if you want to watch it live, my schedule, you know what I need to do? I need to put my schedule in the description. Well, I'll put my schedule in the description and then you'll see when you can watch me live. But just so I can tell you now, Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays at 5:30 Mountain Time. So if you want to watch me live, if you want to catch the show live and interact with me and code with me and have fun with me, that's when you're gonna have to do it, unfortunately. So I don't know, should I maybe I can't make this a podcast, can I? Like, nah, that's not gonna work. I was thinking maybe if you listen to it on your drive home, but the way I speak is so convoluted and confusing that if there's no visual aid, you will not follow. Unfortunately, my mental road does this the whole time. So anyway, as I said, welcome. By the title of the stream and the thumbnail, like the thumbnail, yeah, I spent some time on that today. I had to remove the background using is it GIMP? What's it called? What is it? I don't want to say the wrong word. Yes, it is GIMP. I had to spend time removing that background, by the way. There's a whole background to that. I'm sitting on like this giant chair in a field. It's a whole thing, but I had to remove it. And I think it came out pretty cool. I mean, it's not the most professional thing, but I think I like it. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so let's get right into it. We are doing some database design. I'm gonna maybe cut the stream short a little bit tonight. As I said, I have some appointments in the morning to go to the doctor, so I need to get some sleep so I can at least be awake enough to do that. So let's jump right into it, and we're gonna do some database design tonight. I'm gonna keep it real simple, but it's part of the process. We have to do this before we can move on. So let's go through that process. Alright, if you are not already doing so, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I post some snippets there every now and again. Have a look at me on GitHub. It's that one right there. Have a look at me on GitHub. If you want to see the repositories that I work on, the link for this repo that we're going to work on tonight is in the comments. It's pinned. It will be in the description. So as always, the links to everything we touch is going to be in there. I also posted a link to the... What the hell just happened? I think my internet just dropped to the floor. Oh, it's not the internet, it's OBS. Oh no. Oh no. OBS, don't be doing me like that. I mean, you can see that I'm getting clean pings all the way, and I have been whole time. All right, guess we'll see what happens. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm not sure. I did update OBS before tonight's stream, so maybe need to stop doing that. All right, let's jump into it. I've already extended this far beyond what it needed to be. The first 10 minutes is crucial in these streams, so I need to stop doing myself like this. I am sorry, I apologize, I'm trying to be better. One thing that I forgot is my water, so listen to some music while I go get that. And I was muted. Tonight is not my night for streaming. Everything is going wrong here. Alright, let's get into it. So, I wanted to just do a quick recap of what we did last week on Wednesday. So it's been a while. So last week we looked at SQLite and Entity Framework Core. Looked at how that comes together. Followed that guide that's in the comments. And I'll put it in the description as well. So that kind of shows you how this all comes together, but I'll go ahead and I'll explain it real quick. So if you look at the solution over here, we have two projects. So this one is a class library, and it literally just contains the classes. And you can think of these classes as your tables, right? Like this is the structure for your table. And then in your project, wherever you want to be able to access these tables and query them, you're going to need to it's definitely OBS. I'm not dropping a single packet. I've like maybe a little bit of a long delay, but I'm not dropping anything. Dude, if OBS is ruining my stream, I'm gonna be really upset. Anyway. So in this class library, you just create a normal class, and you just define a class with some objects inside of it, and or some properties inside of it. And each property would be a column in the database. Once you have this just figured out, you would go to your context. You'll create a context file. And you can use the boilerplate code. They give you some boilerplate code, which we'll be using. The interesting thing is the context file is kind of like a stored procedure file to an extent. Not really, but I don't know how to explain it. It's because one context file can call multiple tables, right? So it's kind of like if you want to do, let's say you want to do a report context file, right? Like this is the sales reports. You might want to grab the sales table as well as the stock table to show, what the sales were and what the current numbers in the stock table, is on, inventory and stuff like that. So you would then say the reports context uses, you'll see in here, in here you'll see that it calls the sales right there. So you will add that, but you can also add another one, right? Just like that. Just like that, and you can call this, stock, right? Depending on what you called it. So you would have something like that. And now when you call this DB context, it will go and it will call both of these tables in and open a connection to it and start, preloading some data. So that's what this lazy loading is kind of interesting. So if you have tied two of these tables together with a foreign key. Lazy loading will, when you load the one, it will start loading the other database and that you tie together, and basically bring in some of that data already, so that it would be quite quicker when you start querying it. So the only thing you really have to change here is this, which is just, this is my custom one. You don't need to add a variable like this, but I like to build it into a variable. And here, all we're doing is we're just pointing it to wherever it is in a folder called DB, and then, but you can leave that out, so that's optional. You just need to define the tables or the models that you want to load, and this is boilerplate. You literally just give it that location and whatever the database is called. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. What we also have included inside of the project folder now is this, there we go, is this DB browser for SQLite. So this is included with the repos, so we're gonna kind of use this as well. So if we go have a look, we already created the sales one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drag that in here. And then once I show you how that looks, we should be golden to start running. So you can see here, and I'll just, I just want to close the preview window in this Explorer window so that I don't show company secrets, I guess. So you can see this is the debug.net folder where your program will compile to. And here's our DB folder that we defined. So if you open that, you can see we have a table called sales, and then SQL sequence. So in theory, what would make more sense is, instead of calling this sales, you would maybe give it the company name, right? Which would be something like Test Inc., right? Or maybe like some sort of a company ID or something like that. Although that would have you doing multiple companies, so which is very, very far off from where we are now. So you might just call it something a little bit more down to earth, I guess. And what can we call? I mean, we can just call this EDS Retail.db. It's easy as that. So this is basically the database structure, and then in your code, you just somewhere need to load it. So let's just make sure that it is actually created. Just a fair warning, if the folder that you want to create this .db file in doesn't exist, it will throw an error. And then you just literally load the file. Now, obviously you can see here that each load you do is dependent on this context file that you created. So you'd have to have a context file for everything that you would load. So in theory, you'd load this on like a per window basis. Like if you open the sales window, you'll load the sales context, stock window, stock context, so you wouldn't load all of them at once. It would be highly inefficient. So if we go have a look at this now, and we grab that database, main models, bin.net, there we go. So yes, that's sales DB, which we initially built, but it's not, the name really doesn't reflect an overall database, does it? So open that up. We're gonna log in. If you want to know how I'm able to log in, it's literally just hard-coded values, not even. And there we go. Now we can see our EDS Retail DB there, and if we go open that DB browser, and I'm literally just gonna grab this and pin this. Pin to start. So we can just grab it from there the whole time. There we go. So now if we go ahead and we go open that DB browser, and we have a look at our database that was just created, you'll see now it's called EDS Retail Database, but we have a sales table. So now, the more tables we add, they'll all obviously come in here, and that would be a little bit more effective. Right, so that was just a quick breakdown, 10 minutes or so, not even, of where we are in the process now. I'm not gonna repeat everything we did last week. You know, that video is up. That's the great thing about YouTube. The videos don't go away, so it's up there. You can go ahead and have a look at it, and you can see everything we did last week. Whereas with Twitch, I felt I always had to just recap everything, just because people, you know, might never see the video again. So, all right, so we're gonna keep this open for now, and let's have a look at our models here. So remember, that's our database models. This is just our main application. So I'm gonna grab a sip of coffee and then we'll build our next table. All right, so let's think about our next table. I'm thinking it has to be the stock table, right? Very influential table, very important table. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna literally remove this as well. I was thinking of just copying this, but I was like, all I can do is I can just remove the using statements at the top. All right, so let's think about what we need in a stock table, right? And you know, we can always change and adjust as we go along, but for now, what is it that we're gonna need? I think it's important that we look to our forms and we see what we're currently ingesting, right? So let's see, form point of sale, form stock entry. So at least everything that is in this form, we will need to see, right? Okay, so we have a SKU, quantity, selling price, and item description. So at least that has to be there. All right, so I also think I have a model here for stock item. Okay, so that's the same. And then we'll do sale line item. That's the same as well. So I think we can add a little bit more than that. We can, you know, we can spice it up a little bit. So what I'm going to type is just the word prop, and then I'm going to tab into it. So the first item we need is the SKU, but it isn't really the first item, because as of all tables, you're going to need that primary ID, right? Like something that's unique, right? You can't repeat it. So we're going to make all of our first columns just an ID column. If we use it, we use it. If we don't, we don't, but it's there should we need it, right? So then we're gonna do prop again, and for this one, let's keep it in the family string, and let's do description. And then I just want to create some space there. All right, so the next one is going to be a prop, but this one is going to go into float, right? And now, as I mentioned previously, I used to work with ERP systems, and I'm very familiar with their database. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now is stuff that I saw on other databases that I worked in, and stuff that I know is valuable to have in there. So, you know, we're going to add some stuff now that we don't use right now, but it's definitely going to be very important. So this one is going to be called quantity on hand. Now it's a float, and you might ask yourself, well, how come it's a float? You know, how do you have 0.5 of, you know, this cup of coffee? Well, you don't have a cup of coffee, but what if you're selling meat, right, or fish, or something that can be cut up into smaller pieces or smaller quantities, generally not whole quantities, right? So it makes sense to keep this afloat from the beginning, and you know, now we are ready to deal with industries where they do quantities that aren't whole numbers the whole time. So we have our quantity on hand, which is float. Sorry about that. Let's think of another quantity field that we might need. You know, obviously you want to know how much you have on hand. I think for now that's fine. There's another quantity field that I think is important, but I think we can add that later. So, sorry. So the next thing we're going to add is going to be float, and this is obviously going to be the sell price, right? Important that we have that in there. But just as important for reporting and knowing if your business is actually making money is the cost price. What did you buy this for, right? So that's just as important. So description, quantity, price. What else do we want to add here? Maybe we want to add another prop here, and this prop can be string, and this can be barcode. Now, I know what you're asking. Isn't barcode and SKU the same thing? Not always. So you can have your own SKU depending on whatever system you're running in your company. But the barcode is what is literally printed on the product, right? This is, if I bought this from a supplier, it would come with a barcode. Do I choose to use it? Do I not? That's up to me. I could have my own SKU, whatever. But the barcode is there. So if you wanted to have both a unique SKU for, let's say, integrating with another platform, but you also want to be able to use and scan this barcode, it's good to kind of have that in place. And then I think we need just some sort of restrictive properties here. So the first one is can trade. And I envision this property as a property that says if this item can be sold or not. Maybe this item is, supposed to be put on hold, and there's some inquiry or whatever, you can't sell the item. So that will block that. Then what else do we want to put in? Like, can we think of some sort of another bool that I know, because I dealt with this quite a lot in my previous job, is marking this as a scale item. Like, is this an item? Scale item. Is this an item that needs to be weighed on a scale? And the reason why this bool is so important is because a lot of the programs that integrate the ERP with the scale system uses some sort of a flag to get this done, and that flag is usually scale item or something similar to it. I think that's all for now. We have our ID, which will auto increment. Then we have our SKU or barcode or description, quantity on hand, sell and cost price, which is very important in the pricing area. Can trade and scale item. I think we're good. And then a stock item can have a bunch more properties, right? Like, you can have colors and sizes if you're thinking about the clothing industry, and shoes is a massive industry. It's so complicated and so difficult. So yes, there is tons and tons and tons of properties that you can have in here, but at the end of the day, we're just building the alpha version, right? Like, we can add stuff as we go and as is needed at the end of the day. So this is just the basic, get a working system up and running. All right, so we have our table definition now. We now have to go and we need to create a context file for it. So we decided, and we're definitely going to refactor the structure of the project, but for now we're dropping the sales context class. So you just create a new class, and we're obviously adding a suffix called context. So stock context.cs. And we're just adding that to the main module. And for now, you just need these using statements. That's to read the actual DB file, and that's the framework needed to actually interpret it. And then, as I said, this is literally boilerplate code. So no need to reinvent the wheel. Literally gonna load this in. Keeping this here for now, but you would definitely take this and put it in some sort of a central registry or location to know where the database is located. once again, all part of, you know, refactoring and making the environment better. This is all the same thing. The only thing we're going to change here is, instead of loading the sales table, we are going to go ahead and we're going to load the stock table. So interesting thing that you'll see here is I called this sales.cs, but this is, remember, this class, property class, is the definition for one item. So this isn't sales, this is sale. And this isn't stock. Well, this is stock, but not plural stock or stock items. This is one stock item. Just so that makes more sense. So in here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to load the stock, and we're just going to import it as stock. You can call it whatever you want. And there we go. So now when we pull this in, it's going to oh, and you would obviously need to rename this as well. So this becomes stock context, and it's going to load it from the same DB. We're loading these tables, we're doing lazy loading, and that's the database we are targeting. So that's our context file. All right. Daylight savings has caused my light timers to be all not right. So let me just get that back up and running for us. Gives to me a second. There we go. And we are back up and running. All right. So now that we have our DB context, let's go ahead and let's add that to our main form now, or to our NetDB. So obviously, just keep in mind, right now we're doing this all from the main form. It's honestly not the best thing. I mean, actually, let's go ahead and let's do it correctly, right? Let's say we're gonna definitely need this when we do stock management. So let's load the, oh, sorry, don't want the XAML, that's already designed. Let's open stock management, and we'll draw inspiration here. So we'll dump that in here. I don't think, yes, so I think actually making it read only in the stock management area is good. No, because there's buttons there that is going to, and let's call this stock context. And then we decided to make it context underscore context, and then whatever context it's referring to when we're using the actual variables in the code. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to steal this in the DB procedure here. And I think we can actually go ahead and maybe build that out into a, let me see how this works. So it just takes some sort of a context file, right? The problem is it's a defined context file. So you can't really break that out, because how are you going to know what to pass it, right? So for now, I'm just going to do this. We'll need to break it out, obviously, at some point, because doing and maintaining this is not maintainable. It's just not sustainable. So I'll think about what we can do here. All right, and then you can see that it's complaining that it can't find that, and we can probably just have it add, nope. So it's missing that, which is exactly what it suggested, but I didn't listen because I know better. All right, so there we go, and now we can, let's see. There we go. So instead of it having it load the stock file now, we are doing initDB, and the initDB is literally just gonna make sure that it is created, and then okay, let's leave that in there, and then this will be retired code. We're gonna yank this code, but I want to keep this. So let's go and just add a little thing. This is gonna be horrible, but I shall just add this, and I shall just call this. And sometimes it's just, and you can always go back and just grab this from the GitHub repo, right? Like that's always an option, but it's just easier for me to pop it in here. Well, that's stupid. Keep forgetting you need to do something like that. There we go. So I just pop it in a file like this, and we can always come back and use it. All right, definitely going to be some compile error now because something was referencing that. Yeah, it seems like build failed. There we go. All right, button reload stock file right now. This is gonna have to change using EF Core. So gonna have to fix that. But for now, once we start it up, it will initialize that database and make sure that it is created, and then it will load the stock table. So we should be golden. Let's see. Okay, let's open that database and let's see what we can see. I'm not sure if it will allow us to view it. It should. Okay, so here we can see that only the sales table is still in here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open up that stock window, and we should see, oh, so somewhere along this line something is, oh, I think the problem is in here, maybe? It's definitely not in here. This is just a normal context file. So it's interesting. I think the problem is that this is the first one that loads. So if we don't add it to the sales context, it kind of doesn't exist, if that makes sense. So for example, if we do stock, yeah, interesting. Oh, please don't tell me that. So what I'm afraid of is that it might require me to delete the database in order to add new tables. That would not be the greatest thing on earth. Okay. I shall delete it. Let's load that up. Yep, it seems like that is the case. So that's a problem, because if we update the app and add new tables, what? Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That is gonna be a not so good day. But there we can see our items are coming in. And you can see that it's pulling these in as integer values, but it's probably going to do 1 and 0. So, you know, that's, and you can see that it automatically tags the first one, which is the ID field, as our primary key. So that automatically happens. Yeah, I am honestly a little bit... Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just design all our tables. And then we'll look into the problem where it's requiring us to delete the database the whole time. You know, for now, it's not going to be the prettiest thing, but we'll do project, and then we'll do a pre-build command. Let's see if it will. Alright, seems like it does delete it. So that will just ensure that it keeps removing that empty database file so we can continue adding new stuff without having to manually delete it the whole time. We just need to remember to remove it, because otherwise our database will continuously disappear. Alright, so we took that one a little bit slower, got it done, but I think we should have the hang of it by now. And we should go ahead and just start building these databases rather quickly so we can use the time that we have. So the next one we might want to do is users, and you can see I already started building out the user database. So we have our ID once again, that primary key we can use to reference stuff. Username, password is admin can log in and must change password. So I think what happened was initially I was going to do the login separately, but then it just started to make sense to, you know, blend the two together. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete this login table. And then this is everything that has to do with the user's login details, right? But this is the user's table, so we're definitely going to need name. We are gonna need last name. So let's do first name. So that we need all the basic details, right? First name, last name. We're probably gonna need the email for the user. Should we be emailing reports or whatever? That would be very helpful to have that in there. What else is important for us on a user basis, you know? First name, last name, email is important, so we can have actual emails sent out. We obviously have the username, password, admin can log in and change password, stuff that needs to be set. Yeah, I think that is all. I don't know if we want to give it some sort of a rep code or whatever, but for me, it's just the public ID should be sufficient for that because it's immutable. It won't change. So, you know, you would just be able to use that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's define our add new model, and this one is going to be the user context, and we are going to copy and paste like some monkeys. Just want to grab that, pop that in there, pop that in there. So in here we are, and so for now I'm just keeping it yeah, okay, so this is So I just need to go ahead and rename this, rename to user, and it should rename it everywhere else. Loaded from that database, that's good, that's fine. All right, so we are basically shot here. Let's do grab this, and I'm gonna pin this sales context because I am creating a context for every table, but even though we're seeing that we might have to have a central context that does the database creation first, and then these can be loaded. So we probably want to do that during the setup process. Now that I think about it, is that's going to be part of the setup process, right? Is creating the tables, all that stuff. But once again, we're sitting with a problem. If we need to constantly delete the database in order to do that, then that's not going to be a good day for anybody. All right, so that's our user context sorted. Let's go ahead and, as we did in the past, let's boot up this project. And I am just gonna bypass that login screen when we're done here. So I'm gonna open that database again. It would be really nice if you can remember where I was, my guy. It would really be appreciated. Right, so there we go. We have sales, we have stock, and we have user. Look at that. Now, this is very unoptimized. Don't you know, forget about this. We don't have indexes running. This database definitely can go through some database optimization, get some of this, you know, unnecessary columns maybe out of there, maybe change the names of stuff, all that type of stuff. But for now, we're just getting something up and running. So let's close that down. What I do want to do is I just want to sidetrack here real quick, and I just want to uncomment this because I do not want to log in the whole time. All right, so that's users done. Let's look at what is next. So we have stock, we have users. So we started to define settings, I think, but we didn't really get far with it. The reason for it is just that we don't really have a lot of settings right now, right? So we can do prop int ID, right, for the settings ID. Then we can do prop prop string setting name. I mean, at this point, I don't know what's going on with OBS, but I'm downgrading to the previous version. This is ridiculous. I mean, look, I'm not dropping a single packet this entire stream. I haven't dropped one packet. Oh, wait, I might have dropped one. All right, I dropped one packet there. So, yeah, it's kind of stupid. Sorry about that. I just hope the VOD comes out decent. All right, so our settings table, we can do very generic. So we have our ID, which will just be unique, obviously. We need to call the setting something. We want to add a description for the settings so that if we wanted to pull it into the UI somehow, we have it. And even if you're just checking it in the database, you would know what it is. And then our value, we need to make a string, which is unfortunate because, for example, if you had a bool, you know, a checkbox or whatever, you could make it a bool or integer, which would make it a little bit more optimized. But making it a string as a value column allows us to do stuff like actually have strings in there, have integers in there, have bools in there, all that type of stuff, and we just convert it to whatever it is supposed to be at the end of the day. So, you know, that's and we can probably add a prop in here, which I don't think is really going to be useful in any way. So let's do string, and we can just do type. Or really, and this is just var type. And I like to make it easy for people to read my database, right? Like I could have made this some obscure thing now and made it an int and just had it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you wouldn't know what that meant, right? So now I'm making it var type, and this means that in our database we can post a setting and say, hey, this thing has whatever value, and then we can set the var type to int, right? Then we can write a little function that just does the conversion, right? It sends back a dynamic, item, and it just says, hey, case it's an int, convert to an int, case it's a float, convert to a float, case it's a string, convert it to a string, or just send it back again. And we can pull in any value, we can enclose it inside of this procedure that we wrote, and it will do the conversion for us automatically. So that's what I'm envisioning there. All right, so let's go ahead and let's create our context file for settings. If I haven't done so already, I have not. So we're gonna go class settings context.cs. Is that spelled correctly? It seems like it. So for some reason, it's not picking this up. Settings. Oh, that's why. I was confused for a moment. Didn't know what the hell was going on there. Alright, so that's the same, and we leave that the same as well. And then we're gonna pop this into sales context for now. And as I said, we might have to do like a combined type of DB context that does all of the initial work for us. But for now, we're just sticking with the delete and recreate model. Alright, so we have that. Let's go ahead and say open stock settings. There we go. Look at that. I have to say, modeling this database is really easy using Entity Framework Core. It's really, really nice. Alright, so I want to draw some inspiration from our main UI. See what we might still need. Point of sale, that's going to be probably in your sale itself, the sales table. Stock we have, settings we have. Settings will then also loop over the users table. So I think the only thing that I really would like to add is an audit table. And I don't really know how I'm gonna use this yet, but I know I want it in there, like a system audit table. Yeah, I don't really know how I'm gonna use it just yet, but I have an idea we might need it. And so what the idea behind this would be is you would have this table that records everything that everybody does, right? So that you can see who did what. So you would have, for example, obviously you would have your ideas of everything. And then we would call string, and then we would just say module name, right? So we'd say in what module it is. We would have another string. that would be action. Just remove some of the redundant information in this naming. So we'll have the module, we'll have the action taken, we'll have username, and then I want a one that monitors if it was elevated. So if it's a normal user, then elevated by would be empty. But if it was user number 1, but manager 1 helped them to do it, then I want to know both. You know, you would want to know both of what happened there. And then, so just module, username, elevated by, and then probably just something like string additional info. You know, something like that, which is spelled horribly wrong. Is it? I really need to get a dictionary. It is not actually. I'm actually not as bad as I look. So yeah, so we would just have everything that happens. You know, like you void a sale, we can do that. We'll void it in the sale table, but you're gonna get audited as well, right? So definitely wanna go ahead and, I don't know if you'll probably want to do some sort of a foreign key binding, like you void a sale, I'll grab the ID from that sale, right, and add it in here. But that's what the additional info is for. It's gonna just be like a JSON or some sort of payload that you just put in there with information in it. So yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think that's enough. I don't want to overdo it. Let's go ahead and let's create some context for this. And I just thought about this, but we can literally copy this and then just rename it. And we're just going to call this audit context. There we go. And then in here, we're going to call system audit. Oh yeah, I forgot I've been renaming my contexts wrong. Sales stock, this will be users, settings, that's fine. Same with the users context, because as I said, this is one instance or one line of the user item, and then you get users, right? Because this is the table of all of these lines. So that's why that's wrong, basically. And now it's doing some fancy, camel case here, because this is in theory a public thing, so whatever, stop being fancy. All right, so I'm gonna take this, I shall drop this in the sales context, which, as I said, will probably be converting over to a general context, but we'll need to research why it's overwriting the data. And let's go ahead and let's run that, and let's see what it's doing. All right, so we have our main screen available. So let's go ahead and can we just refresh this database? View. Well, guess I'll close it and reopen it. So seems like it wasn't able to write to it. Maybe because I had it open. Oh, so it wasn't able to delete the file. That's why. All right. Nope, still stupid. All right, clearly I copied something that I shouldn't, or that I did copy something, but now I'm not, probably didn't configure it correctly. So we have audit there, system audit, it's looking good. That's fine. This isn't even being called anyway, so shouldn't really be a problem. So what am I missing? Let me see, maybe there's some obvious thing. I'm gonna just go ahead and manually delete that database real quick. Not sure what its problem is right now, but let's go ahead and okay, so it just spawned the database. I'm gonna open the stock just so we can see. Okay, seems like we are good to go. Ah, there we go, system audits. Ooh, no, don't do that. So it seems like whatever you name it here is what the actual table name becomes, which is, ugh. I mean, I understand that, but why you would do that like that, but yeah, system audits doesn't really translate as a good database in my book. Okay, let's open that up. There we go, system audit. That's what I wanted to see. All right, so that is all of our main tables. I think for now this will be more than enough to tie everything together. I mean, if you go ahead and you look at our main screen here, we have point of sale, right, which we actually want stuff to go into. We have stock, which we can add, edit, delete an item, you know, so okay, well, it's gonna call the stock list there, which is ooh, that's horribly done. But we want to be able to add, edit, and delete stock item, which we should be able to do. And now we can even adjust some settings. And we have our users, basic information, username and password, and you can give them admin rights, can say if they can log in or not, and they can change the password. So that is our database built and designed. Nothing too insane, but it's there and it's important. It was an important part of the project, and now that we have the database, the next step is working with it, right? So Wednesday is SQL queries and figuring out why the database needs to be replaced to add new tables and all that type of stuff. So if you want to learn how to do all of that with, you know, EF Core, I want to as well. So, you know, come on and join me on what is it, Wednesday? I'm going mad. All right, so yeah, let's commit this. I think we got a bunch done. So I'm glad we were actually. I'm sorry for, you know, but I'll talk to you guys about that shortly. So this is definitely a breaking change because it changes the way that the data works. So we can say designed database. Something like that. We can commit all of that, and we are going to push that. Should be no problem doing that. There we go. We are golden. So, my apologies to everybody for the stream dropping a few times. I showed you it's not my internet, so you know, when I was streaming on Twitch, that was one of the problems that I had. I made sure to get that sorted. I will look into why OBS is doing it, because it is, yeah, it's just frustrating. But I will likely just revert back to the previous version, which worked fine with no problems at all. So I'm not sure why OBS is doing it tonight. You know, that's life, I guess. Well, anyway, thank you for everybody. As I said, please make sure to follow me on Twitter, GitHub. The Discord is in the link below. Join it, you know, open some conversations there. And then, yeah, obviously like, subscribe, comment, just show some interaction on the page. It really helps me to just know that there's actually people, you know, watching it and enjoying it. So if you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, fucking clip it. Oh, swear jar. How many times have I sweared tonight? I haven't even counted. I'll need to rewatch. Well, this has been a horrific stream, so I'll have to rewatch it in any way to see how many times it dropped, how it looked when it dropped, and then probably how many times I swore. But you know, if you can't tell, I'm pretty tired, so yeah, I'm pushing through it. And the coffee that I had was, you know, this was decaf coffee. It's ridiculous. So this had absolutely no effect on me. But from my side, I think that's everything. I think we did really good, actually. Like, we got the whole database designed in one video, which is sometimes not possible. Sometimes we really split the work up between videos. So yeah, let me know what you thought. If you hated it, let me know. If you liked it, let me know. If you loved it, definitely let me know. Check me out on GitHub. Check me out on Twitter. Stuff is in there's, you know, description. Links to the GitHub page. Links to my Twitter. Links to the Discord. It's all in there. Go have a look at it. And hey, I'm gonna pop up some videos you might want to watch. Go ahead, check them out. All right, I shall see you all on Wednesday, 5:30 Mountain Time.